There are people who come into your life sometimes to be there for a season. They weren't meant to be there always. Sometimes we find ourselves hooked up with people that we think are there for a lifetime, but they're only supposed to be there for a season. There are people who come into your life like boosters for a rocket. If you ever watched a rocket go into space, the boosters fall off when it reaches a certain altitude. Some people are not equipped to handle the altitudes that you're going to, so don't be upset and cry when they fall off. Actually, they're not bad people, they just couldn't go the altitude that you're going. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. If they're already showing you their true colors, believe them and let them go. And don't try to convince yourself that maybe someday they will change. Some people never change. They just become more of who they already are. Maybe the person you love deeply left you, or might have cheated on you. There could be any reason, and you want that person to still stay in your life. Trust me, you're doing it all wrong. You need to let them go, especially if you've already done anything you could do and said anything you could say, and that person still wants to go. Here's the single most important thing you can do now to improve your life. Let them go. Do you know what's bringing you down when you're trying to get up? It's the burden of your past. The burden of those people who have just made your life miserable, but you're still ready to let them go. Sometimes people don't hear you, no matter how loud, truthful, and deep you speak. If you're facing this situation, then let them go and realize that these people are your past. So let them be in the past. They're not part of your destiny or your future. When you don't leave the person and walk away, it means that you're giving all the power away and showing others that your whole life is dependent on someone who's happy without you. Do you know that some people waste half of their lives or even more to convince others to love them? Some people, on the other hand, try to take revenge. Let me tell you what's even better. It's when you don't take any revenge and forget everything. It is actually moving on with your life. It's showing them that life is much better after they're gone. Life is meant to be experienced. Sometimes you get a good experience, and sometimes you get a bad one. At the same time, you are also surrounded by the good people and the toxic ones. It happens many times in our lives that we end up falling in love with those toxic people and doing everything for them, but they still leave us without even thinking about us and thinking about how hard it will be for us to live our lives without them. I know that you're going through the same situation and you're feeling so lonely, depressed, and thinking that you have nothing left that can make you happy. You know hard times come in everybody's life. Take the example of a tree in the autumn season. The leaves fall from it, but it's not the end of its life. It's actually the beginning of a new life. You don't have to worry about those people that God has removed from your life, because He can see those things which you didn't. He heard the discussion that you didn't. So why are you worried? If a person has walked away, it's not an accident. If a person has left you, it's not an accident. If you tried to make things work and it wouldn't work, it's still not an accident. Accept it as a will of God. If you're still going backwards with the same toxic people who are responsible for bringing the tears to your eyes, then you will remain stuck in the same situation and your life will never move forward. There is no point in being confused and unhappy with those people. What is meant for you will come to you. So believe it. One thing you should keep in mind for the rest of your life is if a person leaves you easily, he or she was never really meant for you. Every moment of adversity leaves two things behind: a blessing and a lesson. Sometimes you have to get rid of a person in order for God to give you a person that you really need in life. All you have to do is trust God. Say these words to yourself every morning: I am whole, I am enough, and I am perfect as I was created. I am whole, I am enough, and I am perfect as I was created. And I came from a source that not only determined the shape of my eye and my body and the color of my skin, but I came from a source that had a great idea about who I should be as well. Life always mirrors back to us the feelings we have inside. The most important relationship you have is the relationship with yourself. Too many people don't like who they are. They focus on their faults and weaknesses. They wish they were different, wish they were taller, had a better personality, instead of accepting themselves as a masterpiece made in the image of God. They're critical towards themselves, and they wonder why they're not happy and why they don't have good relationships. It's because they don't like themselves. If you don't get along with yourself, you're not going to get along with other people. The best thing you can do for your family and those who are around you is be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be merciful to yourself. And above all, be loving to yourself. You're good to others. Why aren't you good to yourself? You compliment your coworker, but when was the last time you complimented yourself? That's not being selfish. That's loving yourself. Too many people go through life against themselves, feeling wrong on the inside. I heard someone say, "I discovered the enemy. It was me." Are you your enemy? Are you defeating yourself, limiting your dreams and sabotaging your relationships, all because you don't like yourself? You have enough people and circumstances against you, so don't be against yourself also. When you wake up in the morning, don't lie in bed and think of everything wrong with you. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with you, start focusing on what's right with you. You may have weaknesses, you've made mistakes, we all have, but there's a lot more right with you than there is wrong with you. Dwelling on the negative and beating yourself up for past mistakes doesn't move you forward. The better you feel about yourself, the more you like yourself and the further you'll go. You can't give away what you don't have. If you're hard on yourself, you'll be hard on others. If you don't forgive yourself, you won't forgive others. When you love yourself, then you can love others. When you're kind to yourself, then you can be kind to others. Everything starts with you.
Misery loves company, but people go so far. When you're miserable and you're a negative person, you go very far to create misery and negativity in other people's lives. So I've learned to laugh. Some of it doesn't feel good to receive it, but I've learned to laugh at it because you understand that people have a job to do. Haters, being a hater is a full-time job. Being a miserable person who has a job to create misery for other people's lives is a full-time job. I mean, who wants to be unemployed?
There are some folks in it that will just hate you because God likes you. You don't have to do anything to them. You don't have to mess up anything. You don't have to start a fight. They don't even have to know you. Most of my haters have never met me. I couldn't have done nothing to you because I don't even know you. How you gonna hate me and you don't even know me? Give me a chance to earn your hate.
I just want to talk to you about haters for a second, because we all got them. Everybody got haters. I didn't even know I had these many haters. Till I go on the internet, there they are. They just waiting on me. They don't even know me. They don't know you. They just be saying stuff. You don't even know where it come from.
That's why we have good and we have evil. And at the same time, what I have an appreciation about is if you're online or if you run into somebody and they just so happens to be a hater and they end up saying something to you that will actually change your life and make you a better person. You may not like the way they're saying it, but if they're saying something that's the truth that could actually impact you and make a difference, then you're supposed to remain a student of life, to learn, even if what you're learning is coming from a hater. Take the lesson from it, grow, mature, understand it, process, and then make the adjustments, and then you keep it moving. Understand that haters have a job to do. Process it, understand it. It balances our world.
A leader must have, Napoleon said, a mastery of the details. All can be lost with just a couple of missing details. On the trip to the moon, everything has to work. There's several thousand moving parts. There's several thousand pieces to the project of getting to the moon and coming back, and all of them have to work. And then there's the backup systems for something if something goes wrong to back it up. That kind of mastery of detail is so vitally important. The drama is in the details. Master the details. Good advice, Napoleon Hill. Willingness to assume full responsibility. What happened to me might not have been my responsibility, but what I do about it is my full responsibility. If a hailstorm destroys the farmer's crop, he wasn't responsible for that. But his responsibility now begins when the hailstorm is over, when he asks the question of himself, what should I do now?
Wherever you are in the world, just do me a favor and share this video, because just maybe somebody is at home stressed, depressed, frustrated, miserable, because they're on the receiving end of hate on you guys. Could make a difference in somebody's out there life. Understand, they have a job to do. Look for the lesson in the hate. Learn from it, grow from it, mature from it, process it, and then you keep it moving. I want y'all to understand that haters have a job to do. You have hate and you have love. Never give a hater a stage to stand on, because they want nothing more than to be negative or do something negative and then have everybody to give them attention about it. Think about how far a hater will go. I've learned that insecure people will go above and beyond to create insecurities. Hurt people will go above and beyond to hurt people.
There is no worse feeling than that of invisibility. You know, when you are doing your very best and it goes unrecognized, it makes it kind of harder to want to keep doing it. And when you feel unseen, especially by the people whose attention and approval you crave the most, it can create a compulsion in your life to start doing things that are not even really consistent with your character in order to receive from people a confirmation that can be taken away just as easily as it was given. So my message is, if you have felt unnoticed, unappreciated, uncelebrated, and insignificant in this kingdom, what is unseen is often what is most significant.
We must drive the dark side of our nature into a small corner and let the positive side flourish. Early, we must learn to exercise self-control. Power is a wonderful thing, but it must be exercised properly, to benefit, not to destruction. So self-control is certainly necessary to be a strong leader, so that you can become the best example. The example of having your temper well managed, having that dark side of your nature under control. The best example of choosing wise words and not being careless, that kind of control. Control of your desires so that they fit into the positive side of life and not the negative side. Self-control, very important.
When you decide, I have had enough, a leader is about to be born. Toleration is the graveyard of leaders. And that's why we lack leadership. Everybody wants to be liked. Nobody wants to rock the boat. And that's why we're not leaders, because we want everyone to agree with us. We still apologize for being successful. We feel ashamed to be in charge. When you still carry your history, you are afraid of success, because you may lose your friends who ain't going nowhere. Very subtle problems. Your attitude is so powerful. It creates your atmosphere. It also is a source of your natural lifestyle. And if you're going to change your life, you got to change your attitude. Now here's the bottom line. Your belief system is the source of your attitude.
I want to say how much I appreciate you, because you hated me on a level that I didn't even know I was on. And you hated me so long that I had to go back and stare at myself to see what you saw in me that made you hate me that bad. And I started discovering who I was because you changed my perception.
to everyone who is watching this video. No matter what you are doing to achieve a goal or to accomplish a mission or to improve yourself or change for the good for yourself, and you want to see changes in your life, despite of any one of those things that you are focusing on doing, you have to understand something. There are always going to be a certain group of people who are going to hate on you for no apparent reason. But it's going to be dependent on how you respond to it and react to it. You can either react by allowing the negative words of those haters based on what they have said consume you and to let it rule over you and allow the voices of those negative words to get into you and then to the point of defeation that you cannot do it. Or you can ignore and don't be bothered with it and then stay focused on what you are doing. Have a plan to improvise and then adapt and then overcome in order to accomplish whatever that you are focused on for the good for yourself.
If we talk about getting set and free from sin and shame, we need to get set free from people. Not that we don't care about them, but we can't be controlled by them.
If you have a certain group of people who are hating on you for no apparent reason, they're sitting there saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you cannot accomplish this, you're not able or capable of doing that. That ain't gonna never happen into your life for the good. The first thing you need to do is ignore what they said and don't be bothered with it. And then in the midst of it, while these people are saying all of that jibber jabber and stuff, do not argue with them. Focus and work and move in silence behind closed doors. That's what you need to do.
Have you ever had somebody leave you and they thought when they left you that you wasn't gonna make it? Send them a picture. Do a selfie.
I want to check your stability today, okay? I want to check your emotional stability. Are your emotions stable?
You need to learn to think, because thinking makes you act effectively in the world. Thinking makes you win the battles you undertake, and those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak and write, you are absolutely deadly. Nothing can get in your way.
Eagles live on another level. Eagles think on another level. Eagles dream on another level. Eagles function on another level. If you had somebody reject you, leave you, stop crying about it. It was just a chicken.
In the morning, devour something. Throw your whole self at something. You'll never know what you can do and what you can be until you throw your whole self at it. Devour it. Attack it like you're going to kill it. Devour the prey. And in the evening, you divide the spoils. We have it backwards today. We want to divide the spoils in the morning. So we're blinging when we ought to be devouring. See, don't worry about whose name you wear when you're young. Worry about your name.
You can come out bitter or you can come out better. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop character. Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm you. But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you.
If you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. When you're trying, you're going to fail. You have to make sure that your dreams and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option. When someone closes a door in your face, God allows them to close the door in your face. All God wants you to do is walk up the hall. Because I can promise you, he got a better door that he wants you to go through than the one that got shut in your face. That's a fact. The door is closed for a reason. Because God just wants you to walk up the hall, because he got another door. And when you open and get behind it, you ain't gonna believe what's back there. But you will never get to it if you stand in front of that door crying. God is the creator of all doors. I'm just gonna see what else he got for me.
We've all been used, we've all been taken advantage of. It doesn't feel good. And when you get used and taken advantage of or manipulated, it makes you stop, think, and start looking at everybody the same way. It makes you question any and everything and everybody because you were used, manipulated, and taken advantage of. You're doing everything and operating and coming from your heart. But unfortunately, other people have malicious, evil, and vindictive intentions towards you. And all you have to do is forgive those, but more importantly, learn from it. Experience is your highest truth, and I don't want you to ignore the truth. I don't want you to disown the experience. There was an open hand from your heart to help somebody get on their feet. And once you took their hand, they took that same hand that you helped them get up with, turned it into a fist, and tried to figure out a way to knock you out.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.
You can't be passive and indifferent. You have to have a holy determination. It's more than just your will.
However, when you get into a new comfort zone, it will be easier for you to practice the habit of self-discipline than it would be in the past for you to take the shortcut.
Sometimes the obstacles in front of you seem like they're too big and it's easier just to lay down. But you know what I remembered? I remember when my dad used to look at me when a kid and said, listen, Nathan, life is never going to give you anything, but if you make it and if you build it, nobody can take it from you.
What we're doing and we enjoy. What we're doing and passion energizes. That's a person of passion, I always think. I realize that I believe God spoke the word about being even more careful than ever about complaining. And I don't consider myself to be a big complainer. Now I used to be that God just kept chipping away at it and chipping away at it and chipping away at it, and every time I started to get maybe a little bit loose and murmuring a little bit more.
It's a fire on the inside, a knowing that it's supposed to be yours. When everything says it's not going to happen, instead of getting discouraged, you kick in to a new gear. Normal people would give up. Normal people would settle, but you're not normal. You want it on another level. Many of the difficulties we face, the delays, the times it's not fair, that's simply a test. God is seeing how bad do you want it. This is what weeds people out. If you're overcome by problems, you let circumstances push you down, people talk you out of it, you're not going to have the strength or the courage to sustain where God is taking you.
Goethe, the German philosopher, once said that everything is hard before it's easy. Everything is hard before it's easy. So developing the habit of self-discipline is hard. And be patient with yourself, because you slip back all the time. All your life, you'll be slipping back. All your life, you have to fight this battle. You never get it to the point where it's locked in forever. Every morning you get up and that alarm goes off and you say, do I sleep a little longer or do I get up? You know, every time you look at a list of things to do, you say, do I start with the most important thing? As they say, do the worst first. Or do I do something that's fun and talk to a friend or make a phone call? You've got to fight this battle every single day. But every time you fight and win, you feel better about yourself.
You have to be like David. Don't have a weak mentality, have a warrior mentality. You have to be more determined than the opposition. If you give up every time things don't go your way, you didn't want it bad enough. You have to dig your heels in and say, I am in this for the long haul. I know what God has spoken to me. I will get well. I will accomplish my dream. I will meet the right person. You're not moved by what's not working out, by how long it's taking, or by who's not for you. You know who is for you.
And we can choose to surrender, or we can choose to take a stand and fight. And there are a lot of people who fight who are still here. There are people who fight and who go. But at least they go out fighting. They didn't just surrender. They didn't just throw in the towel on themselves. And I'm saying that there is something in us.
It only takes about 21 days, they say, to develop a new habit. So you can lock in the foundation of the habit simply by practicing self-discipline every single day without exception for 21 days. Now, some years ago, a businessman named Herbert Gray did a long-time study, it was kind of his project, to find out what he called the common denominator of success. What would be the common denominator of success? And he spent 11 years studying the literature, interviewing people, reflecting on it, and he finally wrote a little pamphlet. And the pamphlet has been handed around for years and years, and you don't need to get it because I'll tell you what's in it. He said the common denominator of success was quite simple. He said, successful people, he found, make a habit of doing what unsuccessful people don't like to do. And of course the logical question is, well, what is it that unsuccessful people don't like to do? Well, it turned out to be the same thing that successful people don't like to do either, but they do it anyway because they recognize that that's the price of success.
The times are tough for all of us, but we got to keep pushing forward. We must continue to fight the good fight. Do not feel that it's over. You've got a lot more work to do. Leave all of the distractions alone. Leave the naysayers alone. Because no matter how you look at it, those people that you feel that are against you, use it to your advantage. Let it be your fire. Let it be the ammunition you need to show them all that you've got something that they have never seen before.
Because hard work and tenacity and refusing to quit and chasing your dream, you'll get there, I promise you. Maybe you don't hit the stars, but you'll land on the moon. You just don't give up and you go after it, and you stop caring about the opinions of people around you. Stop blaming everybody for your hurts. Take ownership of your life. Take off your mask. Don't feed the bear. Make good choices. Be a best friend. Encourage somebody. Be a voice of hope and inspiration. This is your moment.
Always remember this. Your past never has to be bigger than your future. Maybe we made some mistakes. Maybe we did some things that we're not proud of, but the great thing is that people can change.
Like before high school and in high school, to be in Ivy League schools and to get 4.0, they're not having any fun and they're not experiencing life and they don't have any hope and their parents are all on pills and they're just killing themselves. For some people out there that aren't feeling good, you get over that struggle, you feel better. It sounds so simplistic, but I swear by it. I've felt shitty myself and then forced myself to work out, and after I get out of there, I'm like, it's hard for people to break momentum too. Momentum that's good momentum or momentum that's bad momentum. When I get on a good groove of working out all the time, I feel it. Like after I'm done working out, I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to get in there again. I can't wait to work out again. That's the good momentum. But then there's that bad momentum, like you get injured or something like that and you can't do anything for a couple of weeks, and then to try to get that kickstart that motor up again.
You may fall a few times, you may slip a few times, but that doesn't mean you quit. That doesn't mean you give up. That means you must find a way, and you must make a win. You got to continue to dig deeper than you ever did in your life. Enough is enough. Enough with the excuses, enough for being complacent, enough for giving up. This is the time to recognize your purpose. This is the time for you to recognize your truth and make the most of your life. And if you're not willing to do that, then nothing's going to happen for you. Nothing is going to give you that true opportunity to be the best of yourself. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a reality check. Ask yourself, how far have you gone? How much have you given up yourself? Why do you wake up every morning with the same excuse? Why do you wake up every morning saying the same thing over and over again? Why do you feel you need that cup of coffee to start your day? Why do you feel you need to depend on your alarm clock to get up? All you got to do is just get up. All you got to do is recognize exactly what it is that you need to do in your life now. This is the time you need to make up. This is the time you need to realize this. It's the time you need to do the best that you can and give 110% of everything you got. How many hours do you put into your craft? How much work are you putting into your ideas? How many times Have you taken so many breaks that it pushed you back instead of pushing you forward? How much suffering have you put into your craft? How much suffering are you willing to endure for success?
It's hard to get momentum. There's a lot of people that are eating shit food, and then by the end of the day, your body's in a crisis. Your body's just processing all this bullshit. And if you're eating a big, bullshit lunch filled with nonsense, your body's got to process all that stuff. And so at the end of the day, yeah, you're going to lose your willpower. So when 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock rolls around, you're going to be tired. But if you have a healthy lunch and you're properly fueled, and then you also have positive people in your life, everyone's motivated, by the end of the day, you're going to feel good. Just force yourself to do it. And if you feel like shit because you ate lunch, then your lunch was, filled with bullshit, well then, hey dummy, don't eat shitty lunch tomorrow. Tomorrow try a nice salad. Try a salad with some salmon and see how you feel then. You're like, hey, I feel way better today at 6 o'clock. Duh. Now your decision making will be better. People don't understand how significant it is. All these little decisions, that's the path for the rest of your existence on earth.
If you had a goal you chased, that goal you accomplished, some things you would get. This boost of confidence you get, this boost of self-esteem, whatever it is that you're going to, maybe you're drawing comic books, maybe you're into it. But making pottery or sculptures, or but find whatever that is and pursue that, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die.
Something within me, there's something that's driven me on for 30 years, says no. There are some big surprises coming.
A lot of people, they're scared of themselves. They're scared of the power that they've got. Way back when the Occupy movement was happening and they occupied Wall Street and they didn't know what they wanted. They just knew they didn't want what we have. We just want something different. You say, well, what's your goal? And they go, we don't know.
Human revolution is the term used by Second Soka Gakkai President Jose Toda to describe the fundamental process of inner transformation, whereby we break through the shackles of our lesser self, bound by self-concern and the ego, growing in altruism toward a greater self capable of caring and taking action for the sake of others, ultimately all humanity.
We just want all this to go away. And I used to say then, you don't need to occupy Wall Street because we human beings already occupy the entire earth, but we don't occupy ourselves. Non-compliance, simply getting back on with your life is how to get through this. We're not going to do what you tell us. We're going to go and do what we want to do. If everybody applied that to their own lives and supported the people around them in doing that, we'd change the world in a day. This whole thing that's happened has been due to our compliance. Like when you look at the people locked down in Shanghai, 26 million people, 3,000 or 4,000 people have told them to lock down. 3,000 or 4,000 people are in control of 26 million. I think I see a way out.
And this cult is very vulnerable to people awakening to it because its biggest source of power is, apart from human power being handed to it, is the fact that people aren't aware that it exists. But more and more people are becoming aware. But there's this transition that needs to take place where people cross the road. And that doesn't mean there has to be a violent revolution. There has to be a revolution of perception, because from that, everything else comes. We live within a field of potentiality, a field of energy, vibration, which is all possibility.
As Daisaku Aikida explains, there are all sorts of revolutions. Political revolutions, economic revolutions, industrial revolutions, scientific revolutions, artistic revolutions. But no matter what one changes, the world will never get any better as long as people themselves remain selfish and lacking in compassion. In that respect, human revolution is the most fundamental of all revolutions, and at the same time, the most necessary revolution for humankind.
If all of these people simply said no and got on with their lives, and if we did that right around the world, that's the momentum that we need. You can see the lies now. You can see the lies. The whole thing is crumbling. The whole narrative is crumbling. None of it makes any sense. So when people can see the lie for what it is and realize that everything's a lie and just become human again, that's the key to the whole thing. You know, we've got to stop externalizing it. When we see these trucker blockades, when we see these things, realize that we can do this ourselves. You can do this without even leaving your home. You know, the best protest that you have is to be a real human being. That's the best thing you can do. Be a real human being, be supportive of your own life, of your own family and of the people around you, and just get on with your life and make things work. I've always said it's a lot easier to get forgiveness than permission. So when you see something that needs doing, just go and do it. That's the way out of this. It really is. Why do people think they have rulers? Why do people think they need to be told when they can be free and when they can't be free and when they can go to the store and when they can do this and when they can do that? What is wrong with people?
For, as Daisaku Ikeda writes, a great human revolution in just a single individual will help achieve a change in the destiny of a nation, and further, will enable a change in the destiny of all humankind. Taking responsibility for transforming our own lives is the first step toward creating a human society based on compassion and respect for the dignity of all people's lives.
Everything that exists in this reality is a frequency. Every thought is a frequency. Every emotion is a frequency. And so if you believe that you are little me and you have no power, then that frequency band that is generated by that perception of self will interact with the field, and you will create a feedback loop that will appear to you to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You think you're little me, you have no power, you are experiencing a life of little me, I have no power. Not because it's true, but because you believe it is. And when you open your heart, you open your mind, and you re-self-identify from I am are labels to I am all that is, has been, and ever can be, having a brief experience.
The question of how to change in a positive direction is one which has spawned countless theories, religions, and publishing empires. Certainly, self-discipline and effort can enable us to make positive change, for example, by starting to exercise regularly. But the willpower required is often hard to maintain. Our self-control may slip at a crucial moment because we have not addressed the underlying inner causes of our behavior.
You know, we've got to get over this hump, and that's what this is. If people can look at it through the right eyes, they can see how they've been controlled into this and how simple it would be to just do something else. The problem is that people want someone like me or someone like you to come along and say, I've got the solution. Here's my plan. Here's my draft. You all follow these directions and then we'll get to here. Well, hang on, you're just looking for another ruler, another person to come and tell you what to do and you know, hope that when it gets there, you'll just be able to get on with your lives and buy the same magazines and do the same stuff that you were doing before, which wasn't freedom. You know, we've got an opportunity for freedom here. We've got an opportunity to rediscover what it means to be human here. And that's what I see coming out of this. I see a really, really positive future coming out of all this because, I mean, there's no going back to what we were, and there's no going back to having any faith in these politicians or this system or the medical industry or the media or any of it anymore.
Then your band of frequency explodes both in its breadth and scale and in its frequency, and you start interacting with the field of possibility and probability at that level. And this is why when people go through this awakening process, they start to find that amazing synchronicities start to happen in their life that didn't happen before. Coincidences and bits of luck and things just happening when you need them, or meeting people in strange circumstances. My God, fancy seeing you here. And people look back and they think, well, this wasn't happening before. No, because you were interacting with a narrow band of frequency with the field of possibility, and that's what you were experiencing. Now suddenly you started to awaken. You're interacting with the field in a completely different way, more expanded way, and now things that you can manifest in that feedback loop, fine detail, bits of luck, things happening just when you need them.
Human revolution is the work of transforming our lives at the very core. It involves identifying and challenging those things which inhibit the full expression of our positive potential in humanity. Nature in Buddhism is based on belief in a pure, positive, and enlightened condition of life which exists equally within all people. This life state of Buddhahood is characterized by the qualities of compassion, wisdom, and courage, which enable us to create something of value from any situation. When we look beyond our personal concerns and take action for the sake of others, this process is strengthened and accelerated. An experience which previously seemed like an unjust burden can become the key to finding the purpose of our lives, as we learn how to help others struggling in a similar situation. This individual process of human revolution is the very key to sparking change on a global scale